Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Personal Growth Talks podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and as always, I'm joined by my insightful and amazing co host, Julia.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, everyone. We are thrilled to have you with us today as we dive into a topic that many of us struggle with: overthinking. It's one of those habits that sneaks into our lives, sometimes without us even realizing it.
Absolutely, Julia. Overthinking can feel like a never ending loop of thoughts in your head, analyzing situations from every angle, and still not finding peace. Today, we're going to explore what overthinking really is, why it happens, its effects on our mental well being, and most importantly, how we can overcome it.
That's right, Jason. And we'll also give you some practical steps to stop overthinking so you can live a calmer and more focused life. So, if you've ever found yourself trapped in a cycle of what ifs or constantly replaying past conversations in your head, stick around because this episode is for you.
Let's start by understanding what overthinking actually is. Julia, how would you define overthinking?
Well, Jason, overthinking is when we spend too much time dwelling on our thoughts, often replaying scenarios over and over again, or imagining negative outcomes that haven't even happened yet. It's not just about thinking deeply, it's about thinking excessively, to the point where it becomes unproductive and stressful.
Exactly. It's like a mental treadmill. You feel like you're moving, but you're not actually getting anywhere. And the problem with overthinking is that it can lead to anxiety, stress, and even decision paralysis.
And let's not forget how it affects our physical health, too. Overthinking can disrupt sleep, cause headaches, and even lead to fatigue because your brain is working overtime.
So, why do you think we overthink, Julia? What triggers this pattern in our minds?
Great question, Jason. Overthinking often comes from a place of fear or uncertainty. For example, when we face a big decision or feel like we've made a mistake, we start overanalyzing to try and control the situation. It can also be triggered by self doubt or perfectionism, where we feel the need to get everything absolutely right.
That makes sense. And let's not forget how social media and constant information overload can amplify overthinking. When we're bombarded with images of people's perfect lives, it's easy to spiral into comparisons. And what am I doing wrong? Thoughts.
Absolutely. It's like our minds are constantly on high alert, processing too much information and trying to make sense of it all. But the good news is, overthinking is a habit we can unlearn.
That's so true, Julia. So let's talk solutions. What's the first step to stopping overthinking?
The first step, Jason, is awareness. You can't fix a problem if you don't realize it exists. Start noticing when you're overthinking. Ask yourself, am I stuck in a thought loop? Is this thought helping me, or is it just making me feel worse?
I love that. Awareness is key because it helps you step out of autopilot mode. Once you recognize the pattern, you can consciously interrupt it. For instance, you can tell yourself, okay, I'm overthinking again. Let me take a step back.
Exactly. Another strategy is to focus on what you can control. A lot of overthinking comes from worrying about things that are outside our control. When you redirect your energy to actions you can take, it helps you break free from that mental paralysis.
That's such great advice. And speaking of actions, I find that setting time limits for thinking can be really effective. For example, give yourself 10 minutes to think about a problem. Once the time is up, shift your focus to something else.
Yes, I've tried that, and it works wonders. Another tip I'd recommend is practicing mindfulness. Overthinking usually pulls us into the past or the future, but mindfulness brings us back to the present moment.
So true. Mindfulness can be as simple as focusing on your breathing, noticing the sounds around you, or even just feeling the sensation of your feet on the ground. It's about grounding yourself in the here and now.
And don't forget about journaling. Writing down your thoughts can be incredibly therapeutic. It helps you process your emotions and see things more clearly. Plus, it gets those swirling thoughts out of your head and onto paper.
I agree. Another technique I find helpful is challenging negative thoughts. If you catch yourself thinking, I'll never be able to do this, ask yourself, is that really true? What evidence do I have to support this? Often you'll realize that your fears are exaggerated.
Exactly, Jason. And one more thing, don't be afraid to talk to someone about your worries. Sometimes just sharing your thoughts with a trusted friend or therapist can help you gain a new perspective.
Great point, Julia. So let's recap. To stop overthinking, start by recognizing when you're doing it. Focus on what you can control, set time limits for your thoughts, practice mindfulness, journal, challenge negative beliefs, and don't hesitate to seek support.
Yes, and remember, overcoming overthinking is a journey. It's okay to take small steps and celebrate your progress along the way.
Absolutely. And here's our call to action for today. Try one of the strategies we discussed and see how it works for you. Whether it's practicing mindfulness, journaling, or setting time limits for your thoughts, take that first step towards breaking free from overthinking.
And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might benefit from it. Let's spread the message of personal growth and mental well being together.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment with your thoughts or questions. We'd love to hear from you.
Take care, stay mindful, and we'll see you in the next episode of Personal Growth Talks podcast.